Hey, dumelang sanibonani. Welcome back to another episode of Men 360, a platform where we reimagine, we interrogate and we reflect on masculinity, manhood, ukuba indoda indoni. We have real conversations, through different people, all generations, askethe balala, men, women, kids, everyone. Let's talk about this thing called a man. And today, Andina Chuku, again, I'll try and maintain peace, guys, for as long as possible. And when I maintain peace, I invite someone to have a conversation with me. Then you must know I'm a good person on this day. And for me, it was important to have this conversation, Libra Tshepo Mohlala.
Hola.
I wouldn't have had this conversation with somebody else but you, especially on the things I want us to reflect on.
Okay.
But yeah, thank you very much, Tshepo, to grace us on Men 360. I know we are all running a tight schedule, man, but you said no. Let me close and block my diary and come through, Bongs. I really appreciate that, my man.
No, thank you so much. What a big, what do you call this? A big title, Men 360.
Men 360. Holistically. We must look at men holistically.
Yeah. No, it's a beautiful one. I'm super keen to hear this conversation with you, bro.
No, thank you very much, Mr. Mohlala.
Yeah.
And people know your Tshepo genes. And probably let's start here to kickstart our conversation. What is your understanding and not definition, but when you're saying I'm a man, what do you mean? When you say you're a man and you're talking about manhood, what comes to mind to you and what's your reflection just on that?
You're a bold question, bruh. I think for me the biggest thing is I was groomed by very important people, by a very important man from church. It's Akane.
Sure.
You know, the men within my church played a very important role in me and how I perceive men.
Sure.
My grandfather played a very important role in the man that I am today. And I think when I perceive a man, what a man is, I look at a man as a provider.
Sure.
A person who creates a kind environment. I look at it as a man as a creator. I look at it as a man as a person who comes up with ideas, who comes up with solutions.
Sure.
And for a very long time, I always believed with Jindo Taikal, like it's you sit there, it's Zakala, but you're just like, you know what, let me find a solution out of this thing. So that's for me, when I think of a man, I think of a creator, I think of a builder, I think of a leader.
Sure. And as you say, we grew up in this community with Victoria Daikal. Do you cry? Do you allow Tshepo to express his emotions, especially when you're not feeling good?
I do express my emotions, but like Ukala, it's another one, right?
Yeah.
And I do express my emotions. I have a circle of interesting people around me, from Endlini to the streets. I have interesting people who are always willing to hear me. Like I've created a network of people with age or Mazkala. I can go and share my pains, and my pain can be heard.
Sure.
But I do believe which in Dr. Melikale. Mazkala Melizkale.
Sure.
And uztintita, otherwise uzotwala and you're gonna explode.
Sure.
Sometimes you just need to take things out.
Yeah. And crying would not necessarily be literally in most cases as, tears coming down. But just allowing your heart to be,
100%.
Let's also probably take a quick spin and a dive to the young Tshepo.
Yeah.
Sitting here and looking back, what picture do you have of Tshepo? How did you grow up? And especially where you're sitting today, when you look back, what has been your journey as Tshepo?
I think my journey has been quite interesting, man. Like, Kulega Makriza. So,
yeah.
Moga Makriza, there was a lot of things that had led for us to get there. And instability happened, and when instability happens, it kind of shocks your system. It shocks your behavior, how you portray yourself out there. I was a very shy kid, man. I'm still an introvert, but my work makes me an extrovert. When I'm out there, when I'm on stage, I'm like, I'm rocking.
Yeah.
But like, I'm such a big introvert. When I look at the young guy, he's an introvert. He's in his thoughts all the time. I'm always thinking about what's on the other side of the world. You know, Etsakane, the interesting thing about Etsakane, where I grew up in Tokyo, it's mostly get taxini, jams. You can see on a beautiful day, clear skies. You can see the whole skyline of Joburg. And at the time, I've never been to Joburg, but like you know what Joburg is like, a place where all dreams come to happen.
Yeah.
You see
Actually, yeah, sorry. You could see the Coca-Cola thing from that distance.
100%.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can see it, you know,
Yeah.
and it's so clear and it's so vivid. I've never been, bro.
Yeah.
And Mawugeli TV, Generations, and all of that. Everybody's playing the Joburg skyline. The narrative is like you get to Joburg and things change.
Everything's
you know.
okay,
So
yeah.
for me, like I've always dreamt to go to someday. I'm gonna go to that skyline and then I'll take it over. That's it. That's a young man.
Yeah. And who is, you know, filling in these ideas? Who is nurturing Tshepo? Who are you looking up to as a young boy? You know, as you're looking on the other side, you want to become a man. You inevitably you are going to be a man. You're going to
100%.
transition. Who is nurturing that Tshepo? And what are the views? And you're thinking of Mangumjita, this is what I ought to be.
I mean, you're nurtured by a lot of things. I mean, like I had a lot of mentors, you know, from my grandfather to Ubabos B, Esontweni, to Ababo Mkwena. It's a lot of men in the community who represented a whole lot of different ideas. You know, Babos B, I was a church leader when we were young, and he had this idea of like, young people need to behave a certain way, and you need to be a leader. He was grooming us to be leaders, you know. And when I was like this entrepreneurial type of a guy, and my grandfather is also this entrepreneurial type of a guy, very macho, and he wants you to do things with your hands.
Sure.
And then I had other interesting leaders, other interesting mentors who I then met in my life later on. You know, like people like about DJ Spoo, and who I'd listen to on the radio station and see on TV, and the words that they would say to us. Those people mentored us, you know. And I had like a couple of, I loved a lot of leaders, and every man who was a leader, I would like gravitate myself towards that, listen to that. And I've always had this big affinity that like someday I'm gonna be a very strong man and a strong leader. And the most important person, I think, like was my grandmother, who played a role of keeping us inspired, saying that, Ejo, like, yabona las corner. It's not axilas pilla corner.
Definitely.
You know,
Sure.
you can build something for yourself. If I finished school in grade 2, imagine when ukhuluma isilungu, uno-matric, you're going university, imagine what you're going to do.
Sure.
So she kept on planting those kind of dreams, kind of ideas, you to dream big, and the world is your oyster.
Sure. And entrepreneurship, and I heard you spoke about your grandfather and some of our time in your circle who are entrepreneurs. Was it by accident or was it by design?
Oh, good question. I never interrogated it very deep. I started my first business when I was in grade 5 or so. Being by some sweet, a scale.
Knoxman. Oh, I don't know. Knoxman, sorry. Sneyman.
Sneyman, you know. Because the old lady was a domestic worker, couldn't afford to care. So mangana carry purchasing was a peanut butter and like, you know, I go come now and you just want to buy something on a Friday, you know.
Sure.
And I remember actually old lady and Kalunka 30 rand you buy my breads. They say mina was born. So ankai 30 rand, I save ankai 30 rand, I went and bought my breads every week, being restocker. Friday I restocker, sing menu and I'm using something. So I've always been a very transactional guy, very business minded person. And growing up Gumdala, my granddad's house, Marashai Ispan, he'd come back sometimes with cash and we'll sit around the table and lean, count the cash, and okay, sharp, clipanali, so makreza tati clipa, okay, choco elako, laying zoibamba. But then I hamba you spend.
Sure.
You know, so like I've seen that dynamic, and I don't know if that kind of planted that seed in me, or the mere fact that I was motivated and inspired by leaders. Ekaya, and I would see a lot of leaders coming to our house.
Sure.
entrepreneurs, Knoxmen, you name it, everyone who was doing things for themselves. And I was like, this is shaka cool, this is Spanilai. So now me something, I think that's the direction I want to be. At one point, my aunt asked me, what do you want to be? I was like, I want to be an entrepreneur. I was like, yeah, but you don't study for that. So you must choose something else. I'm like, entrepreneur,
Yeah.
you know. But I think the environment and slowly kept on adding into this idea of me becoming an entrepreneur.
Sure. And in the midst of that, did you land in that path, or you first started komlungu? You know, I always have to explain myself. Mina, hey, of it umlungu angwazi.
Angiyazi salary, Joe. Like I remember, I come to Joburg. I went to study filmmaking. Ngama weekending nokushaya Spanish sama promotions. So I've always been milling is you know. And when I left university after a fashion design, I tried to tell Spanish because my mom fageli presently. Nabo lento ake fashion Spanish, wada. Angihamba ufuna umsebenzi. Hama ngifuna umsebenzi ngene ngafona yabo ama yellow pages yafona. I found this company in Randburg, and it's a telesales, telemarketing.
Yeah.
Sharp bangangena la ku interview, nani, okay, cool, come back tomorrow, you'll start working. Your basic, I think the basic was $1,000. On top of that basic, then you earn commission. Sharp, highly motivated, come to work every day, hamba training suwezakane. Kibeli training of 5 o'clock ekseni, uze ngifike Spanini ngo-8. Figure Spanini, worked that whole month. I remember this one time during lunch, the guy who was working there, who was the boss, says to me, pulls me on the side, he's like, you're not meant to be here. Bengiskapa everything Spanini. Like wonke umuntu
Chilled.
Like chill, bafaka ma joggers and whatever. Like mina ngiyaskapa, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
I'm serious about this thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're not meant to be here. Your path, your journey is not here.
Yeah.
I got paid. I remember it was a Friday. Yeah, it was a Friday. I got paid. I think something like 1,800. You can lunchtime. I'm going to taxi. I ate Josie. I went to buy myself clothes at a shop called Fruitcake. When I got there, but the owner of the store, it's a second-hand shop. I was like, hey, Joe, I love your stuff. And listen, if you need a salesperson, and go on. I just shop. Then I worked there for like 6 months. And that place was my first introduction into fashion. So, I mean, I think getting paid, I do understand. But I think the biggest thing was like I always had to sell something to get paid.
Yeah.
I never had that comfort of taking a lump sum and creating my life around a lump sum. Like, I think I was lucky that I do not know the other side of the world.
Sure. And how do we start Tshepo Jeans?
We start Tshepo Jeans because we're crazy, man. You know, when you're young, when you've got big ideas, and I think the beauty of being in your 20s and the beauty of being young is that you've got so much energy. You have no one to look at but yourself. So when you're young, you have the opportunity to do things. And if they fail, at least like you've got time.
Trial, yeah.
Uzamile, you know, and I think that's the environment I grew up in. They always encourage us to do things. Start Tshepo Jeans with 8,000 Rand loan. And all with the idea, you know, I've always been in a world where I felt like I want to leave a legacy. And what does this legacy look like? And I'm like, cool, I need to find a fabric that's going to outlive me. You know, I grew up in a generation where about Tabang and Sons were the hot businesses, where about Jamza were hot businesses with names. And I was like, I want to be like those guys, but more importantly, I want to be like the Ralph Lauren's of this world, the Dolce & Gabbanas, the Louis Vuittons of this world. I want to put my name on it. So with this whole idea, I'm like, cool, I need to tell my story. Which platform do I tell my story? Denim is my favorite love. Denim is my first love. Everybody wears jeans. And I wanted to create, you know, Mosekasi, when you build your outfit, you start with a pair of jeans, then it's your sneaker, then a t-shirt.
Yeah.
It's not like a T-shirt, then da da da.
Yeah.
You build it from bottom up, and the most important thing is the denim. I was like, cool, I'm gonna put my name on this. This is the avenue I'm gonna take. I started with an 8,000 loan, go to downtown, buy myself fabric, and he out here me had his own studio, a small street, and went to him. We created a pattern. We worked together and created the first range of jeans, named them the presidential fit. And the biggest challenge was like, what am I going to call this thing? Whilst we're working. You know, I've already convinced myself it's Tshepo.
Yeah.
But I'm like, hey, Tshepo akalendi jo. And the analyze the marketing, they're like, hey Joe, how are you going to sell this thing?
Racer guy.
Yo, like they're planting the fear of God in me. Like you think it's long for it to actually
Translate
yeah,
Translate
I
it.
translate and like this one day I was like, I'm gonna just call it Tshepo. Tshepo the Jean Maker was my Instagram handle, and I was like, I'm just gonna go with it, and I put Tshepo on it, and it was the toughest sell. You can't sell that. The first people I sell to, I remember the guy I sell to, Chris and Naidu. We met at an event in a shuttle, going to an event. Masbu, yes, I'm gonna. So I was like, oh, dude, I'm doing this thing. He became my first customer, and another guy, Ian Chauke, becomes my customer. Like few guys become my customers. I'm like, okay, cool, I can sell this thing, but it's moving very slowly. Like, I had a suit business, bro. My suit business, I would go to Car Sense, buy a bale of clothes, fix them up, sell them. Every weekend I could generate at least 3 grand.
Good.
Now here's this thing.
Mile.
Emile,
Ngalonwabo.
ayihamba kancane, like to a point where you're like, yo, I'm doubting this thing. Will it ever happen? And I remember in my doubting moment, I sit there and I write a note on my Facebook, a note to myself and a note to everybody. Hey, my name is Tshepo. I'm writing this pitch to myself. My name is Tshepo. This is where I am at the moment. This is my dream. This is my hope. And this is what I'm trying to build. Boom, I posted on Facebook. Boom, it trends.
Yeah.
Goes out. And then radio starts interviewing me. TV starts interviewing me. Newspapers. I was like, okay. There's a chance,
Yeah.
And like I think looking back, it was people enjoyed the authenticity. And there's nothing as beautiful seeing somebody who's being vulnerable and who's sharing their journey. And from that point onwards, I was like, I'm going to tell my story. I'm going to be vulnerable throughout the journey. And let's see where this thing takes me.
Yeah.
What if it doesn't fail?
What are we now? 10, 12 years?
11 years in.
11 years. Did you think you'll get here?
When you start something, because when I'm a time I buy, do amazing things. I've always believed which at some point in my life I will get there. When, I don't know.
Yeah.
But if you're faithful enough, and I'm a strong believer, if you're faithful, and God will give you a chance.
Sure.
Like I've done my part, the rest is up to God.
Yeah. And this journey, in this 11 years, what has it cost you? And I'm not saying in rands and cents. No.
It's cost me joy, it's cost me relationships.
Yeah.
A couple of band bridges. And there's some bridges that had to be burned. It cost me almost my life. Almost died in a car crash.
Shit.
Chasing this journey. And I remember my friends and I, Ngamakriza on that day, and I'm pushing the brand, but things are very slow. They're like taking forever. This friend of mine is like, hey Joe, that's why I said that in Cape Town. And Donna is in Cape Town. I also drive and Donna drive a shop. Okay, cool. My Chris must She walks around the house. Something is not right. She walks around the house. I abuya zekamereni lami athi Tshepo guca. Guca ngithandazela. Hey baba ngicela umprotecte. I don't know what's going on. Protect this young man. Hour later, a friend of mine ezwakala, hey Michael siyabuya ngizonibona next week. Saye eJozi. Angibatsheli ukuthi ngeCape Town. Drive eCape Town. Sharp. Skene emotweni silande nge-out yami eJozi, sipha ama-pizza, sishaya imoto. Gone. He drives till Bloemfontein, Katele. I take the car, drive till Bedford West. Via Bedford West, shama Red Bull, nanani, just relax for an hour. We've got 4 more hours to go.
Yeah. Let's push.
The sun is just coming out. It's beautiful, man. Exentwana also drive. I'm supposed if you can give it another hour, then I'll take over the rest. Sharp. Let's move. Hey, Joe, as been my TD Jakes, but man, in calling a message, boys, I'm for easy. Fagu TD Jakes. Azilale.
Go on.
5 minutes in, balala. Na ming lap on your drive. Lale na.
Shucks.
Sleep. Mangvuga. Tshepo simoto. Kambani. Spambi steering wheel C2 no. Nyawa zasebenzi imoto flip. There's no one on the road. The road was empty. It flipped. Pop. Almost died. Like a car was beyond repair. Almost died. And then at that moment, I realized God was saying to me, Ejo, I'm giving you one more shot to focus. And if you focus, I will reward you deeply. I listened. I slept. I started staying in my studio, left the streets, left the coolness. I was like, I'm going to focus on this brand. I'm going to focus on this business until something happens. And that year, that's where I found my logo, my crown logo. And when I put the crown logo on my jeans, that's when the sales started coming in. That's where the brand started gaining recognition. So it has costed me a lot.
Yeah.
It has costed me a lot of relationship, but I think there's nothing that pays big with no cost.
Yeah. What could have made your journey a little bit easier? What would have support looked like 3 years, 5 years, and 8 years into this journey?
I don't think I'll ever, looking back, I think every moment was very important because it taught me a lot about myself. It taught me a lot about what I'm doing. It helped me articulate what I'm doing. If I had it easier, I wouldn't have been able to articulate it the way I am able to articulate it now. So I don't pray that, like, if I have to redo it, I don't have to. How the journey is was perfect.
Sure.
It was a beautiful story written, and there's nothing I want to change. From there, like, it's a legacy that's going to be built, and it's a heritage. It's a very strong foundation.
Because also in that journey, there are challenges that make you who you are today.
100%.
And because of working, time is a thief, or thief is time. You are a new dad.
Yeah.
Today, sitting here, what has fatherhood taught you? As far as and shaped the character and the personality that you've been having?
I think I've been a dad for a while. When you run a business, you start realizing this thing is bigger than you. Remember Mike Rizawami, when I opened my studio at Victoria Yards, the first thing when I hired people was just like, make sure you pay people on time.
Yeah.
Ungarobha
Cooking
abantu,
abantu wena.
ubabhadala abantu. And that teaches you responsibility. That also makes you realize that the program is bigger than you. Now, when a child directly pege wena, it's like, mfana, now you have to really create a kind environment. Now you have to create a platform. Now you have to create this legacy. Awusadlali manje. I think it made my vision even sharper. Like, Moshe menthol or something, put it in, and then your nostrils are opened up.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like that. Now things are sharper, and I'm clearer. And no is a no, a yes is a yes, and I don't underplay myself. I am focused, and I'm building something super serious. I think that really helped me to stop playing a bit and focus really deeply into what I'm building.
And what is your how do you unwind and probably attach it maybe to fatherhood? What is that one thing that you're like, I hasn't managed, I mean, this is what we enjoy doing. I know it's still early days, but
Yeah, I mean, like we go for walks.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Like, and so to watch a person grow every day. Uyakhula mfethu bekangaka manje sekangaka ujump amatafula
yeah,
and you're just like, damn, I'm creating this. I'm like, hey, une energy. I'm like, wow, I'm creating an environment for somebody to live.
yeah,
So I unwind, we go for walks, we go for coffees, we conversate. Yeah, ngiyamuzwa ukuthi ufuna ukukhuluma siyazwana,
yeah,
and that's a beautiful thing, and I enjoy just going playing golf, spending time with family, and creating an environment. I love hosting,
sure,
and I love hosting, and I love cooking, and it makes home a beautiful place.
sure. And I think why men, especially black men, we are in a crossroad. As your parting shot, what would be your message to Amachita? From Kasi to Emakishini to the rural village, what would be your message to Amachita?
Yo, I think vulnerability shouldn't be. You shouldn't be scared to be vulnerable. You should be okay to dance with your emotions. As a outie. Seek clarity consistently. In anything that you do and anything that you touch, seek clarity.
Sure.
I think for me, that's one thing that has really helped me to become the guy that I am. I'm very curious.
Yeah.
I'm a curious guy. When you have a conversation with me, I'm going to ask too many questions.
Sure.
I do not walk in thinking that I know everything. I'm always seeking, I'm always learning. And that idea of always seeking, always learning has put me in front of amazing men on this world, has made me travel the world, has put me in front of kings and queens, literal.
Sure.
And it has helped me create a beautiful brand and a name that is going to live forever.
My man, I really appreciate. I wish we could go for more, but I think we'll have a part 2. There are still many things I would like us to talk about, but because of, unfortunately, but and we will have to part it here. But I really appreciate you. I appreciate your commitment to the dream that you have. I always say I admire people who have created things from nothing, and today when we look at them and we're like, this is what success looks like, but they don't know the endurance of having to walk that journey, and that's why some of us will continue to see it possible because of when Tshepo Mohlala, and of course it's not an easy one, but because you guys have walked the journey and you're still persistent in it. We find inspiration to say, Anati, we've got no reason to give up.
100%.
Even when circumstances say, but I really appreciate you, my brother.
Thank you so much for the platform, brother.
Yeah.
I wish you all the best. This is a beautiful platform, and wishing you all the best and for the show.
Well, thank you very much, but I wish you enough. Ladies and gentlemen, Ralebucha, thank you very much for joining us for this episode. Having a conversation with my brother, Tshepo Jeans. We're talking about legacy, building, talking about success. But also, as a Machida, where do we put that mindset? And I hope we would learn from the conversation that we've had with him. And I definitely do wish you enough, guys. Thank you.